Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Peter Cushing, and I am the principal of Bartlett High School. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody to please stand and welcome the members of the 2019 Bartlett High School Super Team. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask that you please remain standing. Across the globe, the enemies of the United States and our allies pledge allegiances against us on a daily basis. At this time, I ask you to renew your pledge to the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please take a seat. Dear parents, guardians, distinguished guests, faculty and staff, and most importantly, students, tonight I have the distinct honor to introduce a young lady who has distinguished herself during her career at Bartlett. Our super team captain has been cheering since the age of 4 and has been a varsity cheerleader for the past 6 years and captain of the squad for the past 2. She is a member of the National Honor Society, the Best of Bartlett recruiting panel, a member of Student Council, and a volunteer coach for Pop Warner. As this is National Teacher Appreciation Week, ladies and gentlemen, if we can get a round of applause for the teachers in the room, that would be awesome. I would also like to mention that our captain participates in the Future Teachers of America Club and spends time at Webster Middle School's grade 8 science class with Miss Foley. This is quite appropriate as our captain has chosen to major in biology with a minor in criminal justice at the University of Florida. She was inspired to pursue this forensics career when she was part of an 8th grade advanced STEM class with the Webster Police Department, where they helped solve a trespassing case. Our captain is supported by her parents, Michelle and Jamie, as well as her siblings, Jamie and Jaden. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I give you our super team captain, Ashley Queller.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the 34th Annual Super Team Recon 40 attendees this evening, including Senator Ryan Fatman, State Representative Joseph McKenna, Selectmen Randy Becker, Donald Bork, Andrew Jolta, Lisa Contos, and Earl Gaber, Police Chief Mike Shaw, School Resource Officer Tim Whiting, School Committee Chairman David Hurton, and School Committee members Shyla Blight, Kathleen Navarrete, and Kelly Sadecki, Superintendent Ruth Ann Gogan, Business Manager Monique Perangeli, Director of Food Service Ellen Nyland, Director of Student Support Services Kathleen Barris, Director of Curriculum for Literacy and Title I Janice Daniels, Athletic Director Tony Peranto, Bartlett High School Principal Peter Cushing, Assistant Principal Rebecca Zernicki, Interim Dean of Students Gina Nieves, Mariah Belletti, Student Representative to the School Committee, faculty, staff, parents, families, and friends. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to help us honor the 21 members of the Bartlett High School Super Team. These students, chosen by the faculty and the staff of Bartlett High School, exemplify the following characteristics: initiative, drive, ambition, and hard work. Not just once in a while, but every day. We have all arrived at the same place tonight, but the paths we have taken are not at all the same. Some of us have had clear visions of what our education would be like, while others have taken a more diverse but still remarkable route. You will have the opportunity to hear each of our stories later on in the evening, after dinner and dessert. In the meantime, please enjoy your meal. Thank you very much.
Once again, get to reintroduce our Master of Ceremonies. You've already heard the long spiel about Ashley Queller, but once again, I get to introduce this absolutely amazing senior who really represents what it is to be a great student from Bartlett. So, Ashley Queller.
Hi, my name is Ashley, and I'm a senior here at Bartlett High School. I know a lot of Super Team recipients say this, but when they announced the 2019 Super Team over the intercom in March, I was not expecting my name to be called at all. I was in such shock after hearing my name that I didn't even listen to what award I actually received. So when I went down to the auditorium, I embarrassingly had to ask Mr. Nicky what I had been nominated for. Of course, she laughed at me, but that's when I learned that I received the Principal's Award. Education and excelling in school has always been very important to me, and it is something that I am grateful I have been given numerous opportunities within because my dad was not as lucky as me. With him growing up in El Salvador, what was considered a priority was a lot different compared to here, and that causes education to be pushed off, and he had to start working full-time to support his family instead. Listening to my dad tell me how he wished he was given the same opportunities as me, and seeing how hard my parents have had to work to get where they are today, has pushed me to be the student I have become and want to be the first in my family to graduate from a four-year college. Cheerleading has been a part of my life since I was 4 years old. Going from Pop Warner to high school varsity and now competitive all-star cheer, I have been involved with it all. From cheerleading, I have learned so much about myself and it has allowed me to open up as a person. But also from cheerleading, I have had to overcome obstacles that have shaped me into who I am today. At the beginning of high school, I received multiple concussions that caused me to be out of school for around 3 months. After this, I was then put onto a 504 plan that stopped me from attending all of my classes besides 2. This obstacle, while it did hit me hard and I'm still dealing with some of the repercussions today, it has not stopped me from wanting to excel in everything I do, and it has helped me gain perseverance. For most of my life, I have lived in Webster, and while most people, when I tell them that, they say some form of a snarky remark, I think my family moving here has had a great influence on my life. Being a part of Bartlett High School, I've made so many amazing bonds with friends, teachers, and administration that I will forever hold with me. From being pushed the hardest I have ever been by Ms. Colson, I have learned to be resilient, and I have found my passion in biology and forensics. Whenever I just wanted to chit-chat, Ms. Fifield, Ms. Nassis, and the trio upstairs in the library were always willing to listen, and my senior year would not have been the same without them. My friends have also been there with me through it all, and I would not have been able to achieve all that I have if they were not right there with me struggling alone. While there are so many other people who have made an impact on my life, we would be here forever if I were to name all of them. But lastly, I'd just like to say thank you to Mr. Cushing for nominating me for this award. While I may not be the first one to yell back Bartlett Pride, I was one of the first students to have met you when you were hired to become our new principal. You have become a great asset to Bartlett High School, and you have become someone I know I can talk to and give my honest opinion to. While I was sad that you took away our senior bathrooms, I am glad that you decided to become a Bartlett Indian. Bartlett High School has become a place that is like home to me, and even though I am sad to be nearing the end of my high school journey, I am excited for what the future holds for me as I move on to further my education at the University of Florida to study biology. At this time, would my parents, Jamie and Michelle, my aunt Gail, my sister Jaden, and my boyfriend Logan please stand? I would now like to introduce the other members of Super Team, beginning with the art department. Our first honoree is Vanessa Tankis. However, she is unable to be here tonight, but we'd like to wish her congratulations. The second student chosen from the art department is Chris Hollows.
Good evening, everybody. I never would have expected to be here tonight. When I was told I was chosen for Super Team for Art, I wasn't that surprised, though. When I was told I was chosen to Super Team for Art, the first thing I thought in my head was, goodness gracious, Miss G, why would you do this to me? And as soon as I saw Miss G first thing the next morning, that's what I said to her. But it wasn't because I didn't want to be here or anything. It was because I was scared I wasn't going to know what to say. When I say I never would have expected to be here, I mean it. I kept thinking, really, Super Team, me? I'm not even that good at art. I'm not really even that good at anything in school. School has always been kind of tough for me. I haven't always been the easiest student to teach or coach, and I've gone through a lot while being a student at Bartlett High School. Oh, jeez. I've been through a lot while being at Bartlett High School, and shit. Without the staff at Bartlett High School, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Without the support and motivation I get from the teachers here at Bartlett High School for not only my school life, but my personal life and decisions, I would still be on a wrong path in life right now. That being said, I would like to thank Ms. G and Mr. H for the recognition and my involvement and dedication in the art room. I would like to thank Coach L and Coach Janice for pushing me to better myself on the football field and in life in general. I would like to thank Miss Biggs for never giving up on me and pushing me to succeed. I would also like to thank Mr. Riley, Mr. Nassis, Mr. Znicki, and Miss Argentari for always being here to talk or listen if I need them. At this time, I would like to introduce my mother, Rebecca, and her boyfriend, Joseph Urbanowski.
Representing the business department is Julia Pottedwarning.
Thank you, Ashley. First off, I would like to thank everyone here for coming. Seeing as I was nominated for the Business and Technology Award, it would be out of place not to quote something from Steve Jobs. He said, "Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people." The experiences throughout my life and the impact of those close to me have shaped me into who I am today. Being the youngest of four is immensely challenging, having to always wait for my turn and find ways to be unique. But with the influence of my eldest sister Alexis's determination, drive, and resilience, my brother Zachary's adventurous nature, humbleness, and care, and my other sister Madison's kindness, tolerance, and patience, I wouldn't be equipped with the tools to be so prepared for what's to come without them. Watching them from the sideline, bleachers, and audience the past 18 years has truly made them my ultimate role models. I would also like to thank my parents for supporting me through all my academic career and my numerous extracurricular activities as a three-sport athlete, musician, and student council president. To my father, Gary, for always being my number one fan, my person to turn to, and telling me countless stories that will forever live on within me. And to my mother, Donna, for helping me distinguish right from wrong, instilling logic and confidence in me, and pushing me out of my comfort zone to be the best version of myself. But in the end, none of this would have been possible without Mrs. Haynig, Mr. Janice, and Miss Nyland. Because of these amazing educators, I am in DECA competing in the Travel and Tourism Teen Decision-Making category, a member at large in Bartlett's installment of the Massachusetts Farm to School, and an attendee of various business field trips throughout the year that they have generously asked me to be a part of. They always made time for me to write me recommendations to explore more about business topics, or giving a small gesture like a wave in the hallway to brighten my day. But most importantly, they inspire me every day without even trying. Without these special individuals, I wouldn't have been able to figure out my future. With the aid of my team of people, I can proudly say that I'll be pursuing hospitality and tourism management at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. With gratitude, everyone here for me tonight, please stand.
Also being honored by the Business Department, Zachary Candido.
All right, how we doing tonight, everybody? My name is Zachary Candido, and I'm currently a senior at Bartlett High School, and I'm just about ready to graduate at this point. However, without the numerous experiences that I've had at Bartlett, either inside or outside the classroom, I am truly able to say that the culmination of these trials and tribulations have shaped me into the individual that I am today. Throughout all my academic years, I've had a series of different teachers providing me with a wide array of knowledge over a series of topics, some being a little drier than others. Although the courses which have always piqued my interest were all the business-related courses that I have taken with the one and only Miss Hainig and Mr. Jennis. Over the past 4 years, when I saw that I had a class with either of the two teachers, I knew it was going to be a good time. Not only because I was interested in the subject matter, but also because I knew that both of them were going to bring a whole lot of pizzazz with their personalities as it made you look forward to going to the class. When I initially began high school, I honestly had no clue what I wanted to do when I grew up. As a freshman, graduation seemed like an eternity away, but before you know it, senior year came up quick. I always used to think that the upperclassmen were lying when they said that, high school went by fast, but I gotta admit that they were right. A sense of panic initially sets in when it does come time for the college admissions process and attempting to figure out your major. However, what I thought would be a difficult choice became rather simple when I truly thought about it. I thought to myself, what do I really enjoy doing throughout high school? After a little thought, I knew that business was the route for me. I was lucky enough to excel with the content, but was also able to truly say that I had a passion that can allow me to hopefully say one day that I don't have a job, but rather a career. In addition to my teachers, my family has also been substantial in helping me develop into the individual I am today, as they helped guide me through any struggles which I had, never making it seem as though one obstacle was too large to clear. I know that I can rely on anybody in my family to give me an extra push to continue on with whatever I aspire to accomplish. They always keep the mood light, whether it be a silly joke or something else, in order to not make everything seem too bad. I appreciate all they have done throughout my life and hope to repay them in some way or form throughout my adulthood and return the favor. I look forward to continue on with the progression of my life by graduating high school and attending college. In the fall, I'll be able to attend Nichols College in the honors program while I will major in hospitality management and seek to travel along with learning how to create a fine experience for individuals who seek to just kick back and relax. The social aspect of the major is what I truly look forward to, and I don't know if I would have elected to do so without my high school experiences, as it taught me to always focus on myself and never compare myself to my peers. I set my own bar and where I want to reach in life. As I continue on, I will appreciate everybody who has made an impact in my life already. At this time, can I please have my mom, dad, grandparents, and girlfriend Mariah please stand.
Representing the English department is Vivian Adams.
Hi. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Robert Frost. The first time I saw these words, they were strewn up upon a poster in my elementary school library, a long ways away from where I am today here at Bartlett High School. Upon arriving here, I felt average. It was safe to say that Bartlett was a whole new level of intimidating for a measly schoolgirl like myself. I had known the same routines, the same skills, the same everything before this huge change. Mentally, I don't quite know how I pushed my way through these 4 years while staying on my feet. This year in particular was a pinnacle moment in changing my mindset and trying to survive while also living up to everyone's expectations. You see, I was struggling. For years, I was pushing away something that could be described simply as, for a lack of better words, a rain cloud. A storm of disaster and fear and desire for perfection looming over my every move, every single choice I had to make. The rain puddle was pooling up to my chin. The wind was reaching the heights of a hurricane, and I was choking down endless waves of water. I would try to silence the storm with my words. I would scribble out poems and short stories, keeping them tucked away like emotional baggage that I could store in my little notebook. It wasn't until I began opening up more in my English classes that I realized that maybe I'm not the only one facing these issues. I remember flashes of moments in reciting poems, from striking tears in Miss Argentary's classroom to entrancing an audience of my peers during Diversity Week. Somehow, I began to realize the potential of my work. I began expanding how I utilized my writing through new classes like drama and journalism. I became intrigued by putting together newspaper columns on random topics, words flowing into the 2 simple rows of my computer. I was always blown away by the positive reactions I received from my classmates and Mr. Constantine. Writing just felt so simple and so easy. Even when the blinking cursor began to mock my writer's block, I was capable of mashing keys into some sort of comprehensible piece. I also began finding joy in script and songwriting by inspirations of Miss Nassis and all of my friends that I've grown so close with in the drama department. With all this positivity, it began encouraging me to find some sort of umbrella for the rain. It was downpouring in my head, all while I was trying to manage to keep up with my love for writing and exploring new talents and goals. I had to choose to battle this drowning weather, or at least to address it as something other than this metaphorical rain. Oh yes, each raindrop had a name. Depression, anxiety, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. I was done with being ignorant of these things because finally I was sorting out these obstacles so that I could show everyone that I'm not just lazy, I'm not just scared, I'm not just a perfectionist using an excessive amount of whiteout on every paper. I understand that this is super team, but I'm really not that super. I am human. However, I am incredibly thankful to be recognized for putting my heart and soul into improving myself so that I can excel in English. Overall, I believe that taking the road less traveled by has truly made a difference for me. So thank you, nice little poster I used to glance up at when my feet still didn't quite touch the floor as I sat in my library chair. I took the difficult road to slow recovery and rejuvenation from mental illness. I was supported by none other than my teachers, my close friends, and my family. I'd like to say thank you to my dad and my mom, who have provided the support I need to grow into the young woman I am today. And I would like to ask my father to please stand as he is here for me tonight. The second honoree for English is Leah Bousselet.
Thank you, Ashley. Good evening, everyone. My name is Leah Bosley, and I was chosen for the English Super Team. I would just like to start off my speech by thanking Mrs. Heinig for this wonderful event. I would also like to thank the English department for choosing me as one of their Super Team members. But I would most importantly like to thank Mr. Constantine for everything he has done. Mr. Constantine has been one of the best teachers I have ever had. Throughout the years, I have gone to 14 different schools. I have witnessed teachers of all sorts, but none have compared to him and his dedication to his students and his subject. Mr. Constantine truly cares for all of his students and instills valuable lessons in them any chance he gets. He is very invested in his subject and values literature and its ability to show us all how to be humans, which, when you think about it, no other subject can truly do. Now, I have to admit, English has always been my worst subject. No matter how hard I tried, I always felt like my work wasn't good enough, and I just couldn't do any of it right. Yet here I am, preparing to major in English with a concentration in journalism in the fall at Framingham State. I am someone who never truly had the opportunity to be part of my community until high school. Seeing as how I transferred schools 14 times and have moved plenty more times than that, I never had the means to be a part of a community because my community was always changing. Once high school came around, I had a bit more stability and more knowledge of what a community truly is. I knew I wanted to be a part of that and help those within my community. While attending Woonsocket High School, I joined a club called the Woonsocket Student Union. I was not going to join at first, but for whatever reason I did, and I am forever grateful for that decision. The aim of the club was to give the students of our school a voice. Not a voice of what music they wanted to play at prom or what theme our next dance should be, but a voice for change. A voice that could better our school and our community. Being a part of this club was unlike anything I had yet experienced. We had accomplished so much, and we were getting better at what we were doing. I had been able to be one of the main contributors of ideas and did the majority of the research for the group. I had learned skills of social networking and pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I became more involved in my community than I had ever thought possible. I had joined families and communities for educational success. I was finally helping and making connections with people. I had a voice, but most importantly, I was making a difference. But like clockwork, I moved again, and here I was at Bartlett High School, the start of my junior year. I had lost my connections, I had lost my voice, and I had lost all hope. But in taking journalism this year, I have found myself. I have learned that no matter where I am, who I'm with, I can be a part of the community and I can help even with the smallest act. That is when I realized this is what I need to be doing for the rest of my life. This is who I am. This is what I want to be a part of. I want to be a voice. I want to help people. I want to be a part of the community, whether or not that community changes every couple of months or if it has been with me for years. Because I've learned that no matter where I go, there are people, and those people are a community, and that community needs a voice. I'm a strong believer that everything happens for a reason. There was a reason I had to move so many times. There was a reason I had signed up for the student union, and there was a reason I came to Bartlett, and there was a reason that I was put in that journalism class. And I believe that reason was to discover who I am and what I'm passionate about and what I can do for this world. With me here tonight is my grandmother, Joellen Bosley, and I ask that she please stand at this time. Representing the Foreign Language Department for French, Ashley Bartles.
Thank you, Ashley, for that wonderful introduction. Once again, my name is Ashley Bartels, and I have the honor of accepting the 2019 Super Team Award for Foreign Language. Now, I could give this speech in French, but I promise I won't. Foreign language has been something I've been interested in since the 7th grade when I was attending Douglas Middle School taking Spanish. Upon transferring to Bartlett High School, I was still at the opportunity to take French, language, and culture classes. Coming from a family that is predominantly French, I was inspired to learn more about the history and language of those who came before me. While losing my French 1 and French 2 teacher this year was difficult, I've had the honor of studying under the instruction of Madame Mendez. While the transition from teacher to teacher was difficult, and we found many curriculum and teaching differences, through careful study and instruction, I have found myself learning more in this language than I thought possible. With the curriculum changes this year, I found the most difficulty in the increased amount of oral presentations that were assigned. Speaking in public, especially in a foreign language, is very difficult for me because of my social anxiety. It took about twice the amount of practice as the other work for me to become comfortable speaking French in public. Despite my issues with social anxiety, language has always been very important to me. It is the way we communicate our thoughts and feelings with those around us and is one of the most essential tools to living a happy and productive life. Success in life requires the ability to communicate with others, and the ability to communicate with others in multiple languages only exemplifies this effect and widens one's horizons to the world around them. Language barriers are common throughout society. However, when the effort is made to overcome these barriers, humanity only grows stronger. Our world already consists of barriers, so if everyone can make the effort to understand another's language and culture, I believe the world would be a much better place. In light of receiving this award, there are a few people I would wish to thank. Madame Mendez, and my former teacher, Madame Morandi, for giving me the basis on which to perform as a student and for opening my eyes to both the world around me and to my own interests. I would also like to thank my parents for their dedication to my education, as well as their dedication to ensure that I strive for excellence in education. The students here tonight are shining examples of the students of Bartlett, and Bartlett is a community which strives to be accepting of its students as possible. Moving to Bartlett in my freshman year was like moving into a new world. Never had I seen such dedication to preserving the cultures and individuality of the students. That is what inspires me to study foreign language, and that is what makes me proud to be a Bartlett student. At this time, could my parents, Carrie Ann and William, please stand?
The foreign language recipient for Spanish is Natalie Perez. Let me just tell you guys, I'm so nervous right now, so if I say some words wrong, please forgive me. Thank you, Ashley. I would like to thank the Super Team coordinators and Ms. Masterson for allowing me to receive this award. I would like to start off by saying a few words to Ms. Masterson, followed by my speech. Te quiero dar las gracias por reconocer mi esfuerzo en tu clase. Ha sido un honor grande tenerte como una maestra. Eres una inspiración. Siempre tienes una actitud positiva incluso cuando no sale el sol. Siempre me veo con ganas de ir a tu clase porque sé que puedo hablar de cosas que me apasionan del mundo y a veces nos encontramos en una conversación muy profunda. Tú mereces el premio esta noche por ser una maestra cariñosa y apasionada con una mente abierta. Tuve mucha suerte de ser parte de tu clase este año. Gracias. If I had 3 words to describe myself, they would be self-motivated, resilient, and independent. Self-motivated because there was a time in my academic life where I struggled to keep good grades. I was satisfied with a C because I didn't think I could do any better, and I didn't come from a home where my grades were constantly checked. I didn't have much school support, so I allowed myself to do less than what I was able to do. This behavior continued up until half of my junior year, which was when I moved to Webster. I enrolled at Bartlett in April 2018 and was given almost all the classes I took at my previous high school, but realized that they were a bit more challenging. This caught my attention. Assignments were given every day, which was something I wasn't used to because our schedule was a bit different. I motivated myself enough to get it all done on time, and even though I struggled, I managed to pass and receive all my junior credits. Transitioning into senior year made me think profoundly about my future. I became so motivated in my life, and I've been on top of all my classes, making sure I knew the material and never hesitated to ask questions. Resilient. Resilient because in the fall of 2018, I became homeless. My family was given 30 days to move out of our home due to financial struggles. We had to separate, and for 3 months, I lived with a close friend of mine. Not many people know that I went through this, and it's where my independence comes in. I was able to handle the situation on my own without letting the opinions of others get to me. After those long 3 months, I moved in with my older sister and stayed with her for another 2 months. During this time, I noticed I isolated myself and became a different person, someone I did not like. As spring of 2018 started to approach, I told myself that I needed to change, but didn't know how. This cycles back to when I moved halfway into my junior year. It was April 2018. It was very hard for me to open up to others. It had already been the end of the year, and I just couldn't find a way to connect with people. When the new year began, I joined cross-country team, where I had made many amazing friends. They were very kind and open and allowed me to be my true self. They are the reason why making friends became so easy after a couple of months. A lot of students and teachers in the school gave me hope for the future. To me, they were role models. Being here this year has made me wish I'd been here longer with you all. I have proven to myself and to others that there is nothing that can defeat me. I was able to better myself academically and come up from a very deep hole. After all these obstacles, I am proud to say that I will be attending the University of New England this fall. I would now like to introduce my family who are here with me tonight. My mom, Woda, and my 2 younger sisters, Aidelis and Janice Martinez. I would now like to introduce the honoree from the Health Department, Darian Tooley.
Hi, good evening. My name is Darian Tooley, and I was nominated for the Health Super Team. Although I am very nervous to be giving my first speech at such an event like this, I would like to thank the teachers of the Health Department, including Ms. Granger, Ms. Grandy, and Mr. Nassis. Sadly enough, I didn't take a health class my senior year and wasn't able to spend another year stuck in their classes, but I can truly say the things a student learns in a health class doesn't compare to the subjects in other classes. Health is a subject that you can teach how to take care of yourself, how to protect yourself, and also how to be a better person, and I'll take the things my teachers have taught me outside of high school, including the rule of thirds and not to say during my presentations. Thank you, Mr. Nassis. I know teaching some of the my bad. I know teaching some of the subjects in health to a bunch of high school students is sorry. Now I'm nervous. Is this probably as uncomfortable for you as it is for us sometimes? But on my behalf, I would like to say thank you, especially Ms. Granger, who not only had me for health, but as a gym teacher for 4 years and since 7th grade. You have seen me grown up as a student and a person. And I would like to thank Mr. Jennis and Miss Sanborn for letting me print this at 7:30 this morning. Now I would like to take it back a little bit to my junior year of high school, the most difficult and longest 10 months of my life. It was a huge setback for me, and it has allowed me to be the student I am today. I was denied from National Honor Society, taking some of the hardest AP and honors classes in Bartlett, and almost received my first F. I mean, you can imagine the heart attack I gave my mom the day that came in the mail. Being at such a low point in my high school career pushed me to be a better student, and I'm grateful some of the teachers recognize my efforts I have put in for throughout my years. I won't let you down. I can proudly say I will be attending Roger Williams University in the fall and will be majoring in forensic science and minoring in criminal justice. And before I finish my speech, I would like to thank my mom for pushing me to be the person I am today and not giving up on me when I wanted to quit, but I hope I can continue to make you proud. Now with me here tonight, I ask my mom, Dina, my sister, Chelsea, and my nephew, Braden, to please stand.
And representing the Physical Education Department, Eric Vasquez.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First, I'd like to thank Ms. Granger for choosing me to receive this award. Now for my speech. My name is Eric Vasquez. I'm currently a student athlete with a 3.5 GPA. High school has truly been a roller coaster, having its ups and downs throughout it all. I moved from Worcester to Webster in 9th grade. Having to move to a new school wasn't easy. This was a challenge I had to face and embrace. I felt like it wasn't going to work because basically it started a whole new life. I was a pretty shy kid and didn't like change in my life because I felt change was a bad thing. But come to find out, sometimes you need change in your life. As a kid, I always had a thing for sports growing up. I constantly watched my brother play sports, and I always thought to myself, one day I want to be like him. Well, nowadays, I'm like, come on, man, I'm better than you. But seriously, my brother has been a big impact on my life, helping me and guiding me through as I grew. My brother isn't the only person who inspired me to be the person I am today. That man over there, sitting at that table, is my dad. My father to me and is my superhero. He's all you can ask for in a dad, and he's always tried his best to attend all my games. I'm sorry. He always helps me with my schoolwork and overall has just been there since the beginning. He has always helped me with my mistakes and tell me how I can improve on them. And he still does it to this day. Without my dad, who knows where I'll be today? He's been a big part of my life, and that's one thing I'm not willing to give up. At this time, I would like to ask my father, my mother, my brother, and my grandmother to please stand.
The first honoree from the math department is Hannah Piccioni.
Thank you, Ashley. I was nominated for Super Team for math. I have come a long way since the beginning of this year. I failed my first quiz of the year in pre-calc, and on my most recent test, I passed with a 97, my highest grade of the year. But I feel that my growth hasn't originated in the classroom. It has come directly from me. My story began last year during arguably one of the worst years I've experienced at Bartlett. Sophomore year was a nightmare. I had never really understood why so many of my peers despised high school. I had a relatively easy introduction to it. I breezed through my classes and knew exactly where I fit in. I didn't have to worry about college or AP exams or the SATs. This was probably because my grade didn't need to adjust to Bartlett. We had already spent 7th grade there. But if 9th grade was painless, then 10th was pretty much a torrent of every stereotypical problem that teenagers are faced with. I was swept into the drama that exists in high school. I began realizing that maybe the people I was surrounding myself with were no longer people that I belonged with. But I stayed anyway because I didn't know where else to go. I discovered that I couldn't trust a few people that I had close relationships with. The more people dismissed me and disregarded my feelings, the further my confidence fell. Finally, by the end of the year, I could see why so many people my age can't wait to graduate. I felt completely lost and alone. I don't know what I would have done without my friends. I know that they are not here tonight, but I would like to acknowledge that without them, I never would have started to feel better. Their encouragement and care reminded me that I deserve to be accepted by and included with my peers, even though I am quiet and don't say much in public. When this year began, I was determined to make it 10 times better than the last. I was done with trying to fit in with people who didn't care about me. Sorry. And I was done being concerned with people who didn't matter. But once the school year started, I faced more challenges. Pressure to be a good leader, piles of homework to finish, and tests to study for. I didn't handle it well at first. Every mistake that I made felt like another failure. I've been told that I put too much pressure on myself, but I didn't really see it until this year. Teenagers like myself face too much pressure. Most of us spend hours doing homework and slaving over our grades to maintain them. We see the success of those around us and we long for the same things. That success does not just extend to academics, it also includes a person's social life. We get caught up in trying to belong with our peers and in trying to raise our GPA. In all the work that we do trying to impress others, we forget that our happiness shouldn't come from numbers or compliments. It has to come from ourselves. Math helped me come to that realization this year. At this time, I would like to thank my teachers from the math department for nominating me for this award. The stress I had over my grades ate away at me until one day I decided to just accept that being imperfect is just part of being human. My parents helped me come to that realization, so I want to thank them for supporting me and helping me push forward this year. I would also like to thank my sister, not because she teaches me life lessons, but because she's funny and she's pretty awesome, so I should probably acknowledge her while I'm acknowledging everyone else. I am not without flaws. I have bad days just like everyone else. I make stupid mistakes, a lot, and I feel embarrassed after I make them. Sometimes I say things that I shouldn't, and other times I don't say as much as I should. But I'm starting to be okay with the fact that no matter what I do, life will never be perfect. There will always be something to worry about,
I can't get perfect grades constantly, I can't erase the people who bother me, and I can't change the mistakes I've made in the past, but I can keep moving forward. So, I was nominated for Super Team for Math, but the most important lesson I've learned all year is that perseverance is key. Obstacles will always be present in my life, but the only thing I can do is keep pushing forward. At this time, I'd like to introduce my family that I brought with me tonight, my mom and dad, Holly and John Piccioni, and my sister, Lily Piccioni.
The second student chosen to represent the math department is Duncan McIntyre.
Thank you, Ms. Queller. Hello, humans. My name is Duncan McIntyre, and I am the recipient of the Mathematics Super Team Award. I would get right into thanking all my wonderful teachers who have agreed to honor me with this award. But first, let me tell you guys what makes me, well, me. One of the major things that makes me who I am is, of course, my hair. I have been growing it out for about 4 years now, and it's just gotten longer and curlier still. You could pick me out of a crowd very easily because of this. My hair may be my most outstanding trait, but is by no means the most important. It is very hard to pick just one trait that I have that's better than all the rest, so I won't. Instead, I'll give you a brief overview of what makes me such a charismatic individual. One of the major things I'm proud of is how approachable I am. I go up to almost anybody and strike up a conversation. Doesn't matter if I haven't seen them in a while or I just saw them last period. I don't care what other people might say about someone. If they're nice to me, I'll return the favor. Another thing that makes much of my friends comment is on my leadership. Whenever I work with others, I take charge. But I don't run a dictatorship where my word is law and everyone has to listen to me. I listen to others' input because without it, we would not end up with a wholly representative piece in what we could do as a group. I let others on the other team use their strengths in certain areas, like designing the slides or maybe being able to speak powerfully and eloquently in front of a group. Something else that many of my classmates can attest to is my consistently positive attitude. I always greet others with a chipper hello and ask them about their day in a genuinely inquisitive manner. I enter every class and bellow, "Hello, humans," which always makes my peers delighted, and letting them know that I'm having a good day, and I wish them one as well. But that's enough about me. Now, I've had many teachers throughout my years here at Bartlett, and I am now a senior. I'll soon be leaving them all behind. Out of all the subjects, one that I've worked my hardest on is in, you guessed it, math. Throughout my years here at Bartlett, I have consistently enjoyed math as a subject. Sometimes the material didn't click with me instantly, but I always prevailed. This was in no small part attributed to my teachers, who helped me when I was struggling, and who helped me achieve greatness and allow me to stand before you presently. My current pre-calc teacher, Ms. Biggs, has helped me multiple times when I was stuck. I'm proud of my achievements, and I believe she must be as well. Thank you, Ms. Biggs, for nominating me for this award. She's not only the teacher, however, who has helped me in my math journey. I'd like to thank all my math teachers, both present and past, for helping me achieve this great honor. Now, I don't live by myself like some reclusive hermit, believe it or not. I do actually have a family, and I'm thankful for that. They've helped me when I'm at home with projects, and recently with my college search. I'd like to introduce you to my mother, Claudia McIntyre, my sister, Catherine, and my aunts, Jody and Devlin.
I would now like to introduce you to John Busami from chorus, who is being accompanied by Ben Akari, and Ognan Milosavljevic from band, who would like to perform a few musical selections for you.
You need me to test it? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool. I'm trying to hold let it stay this way. Can't let this moment end. You set off a dream in me, getting louder now. Can you hear it echoing? Take my hand, will you share this with me? 'Cause darling, without you, all the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the joy you steal from the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Towns of gold are still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough, never be enough for me. Never, never, never enough, never, never, never enough for me, for me. Never enough, never enough, never enough for me, for me, for me. All the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars we steal from the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Towns of gold are still too little. These hands will hold the world, but it'll never be enough, never be enough for me. Never, never, never enough, never, never, never enough for me, for me. Never enough, never enough, never enough for me, for me, for me. For me. Thanks. Hey, Ben. Hey. What's up?
I need like 2 minutes to 2, if that's okay.
He's good, guys.
I introduced this one. Yeah. I introduce to you again the Super Team honoree for chorus, John Busami.
Hi, I'm John. I was kind of hoping I could say this speech before I performed, but let the pressure be on. So throughout the years, going through some music classes with, of course, my favorite teachers, Mr. Carney and Mr. Turaga, I learned some very valuable lessons about music. I learned about music technique, music style, composers, genres, all of the sort. But what I enjoyed learning the most about was something as simple as music terms and vocabulary. I know it sounds weird, like such a nerd thing to say, but trust me, it has its benefits at the end of the day. I love to learn about the way music is written in the words and the vocab a composer uses to describe how they think their music should sound to others. I've been able to take the terms and vocabulary that I've learned and even use them in other classes. Though my music teachers do seem to go on forever with these lessons, and believe me, they do, there were two words and one phrase that I learned and enjoyed learning the most about, and that I felt on a personal connection with that contributed to my own life. So these things that I learned from two of my favorite teachers were lessons on dissonance, harmony, and about how rests within the music were just as important, as if not more important than the music being played itself. Dissonance itself is defined as a lack of harmony, while harmony is defined as the combination of notes to make a group of sounds or chords that sound pleasing. But my teachers put this into better words. What they told me was that dissonance is that chaos you feel in your bones in the music, when the notes and sounds combined sound like things are just crushing inside of you. It's like sitting in an AP calculus class, being told to find the derivative of the integral, which is just a function, and you're still trying to figure out how many degrees are in a circle. But harmony, they defined to us, was the ability for musicians to put music together that sounded like it belonged together. Like each part was put together as one synchronized voice, echoing the story hidden within the musical staff to really evoke its message to the audience. But what I believe is my ultimate lesson to ever learn in music was that rests in the music may sometimes be the most important part. What I learned was that rest can be the gateway to a new opening in music, while the enormous fermata rest or even the short staccato 16th note rest can make all the difference in the music and the message it's conveying. It even relates to a saying that many people love and dear so much, one that says, sometimes silence speaks louder than words. Though these lessons may be simple and small in essence, the true effect of these lessons have a lifelong impact on those willing to open up their eyes to them. Again. I know that anyone can pick 3 random words and say that they use these in life, and yeah, it may not be practical that these things actually have a huge effect on me, but trust me on this one. Now, what we learn about the correlation between dissonance and harmony is that they seem to be polar opposites, but yet at the same time, they complement one another. Now, look at it this way. When things seem to be flowing smoothly in a piece of music, that one small crunch chord that causes dissonance in the music is the energetic shock that stimulates the music and almost seems like being shocked by lightning. It is a burst moment that brings you back into reality. Now, this being said, the opposite works as well. When things are dissonant and the piece just seems to be chaotic and crazy, the one harmony that breaks through the chaos could be what brings the piece together and finally creates relief in the music. Every musician seems to relate to this message, although they don't really realize it unless they look into it further. The reason why some musicians are masters of using this technique is music between the flow of dissonance into chaos and vice versa is because they truly understand what it means at a personal level. Because the reality in it is in life, when things don't seem to go the way you want them to, when that one decision doesn't line up with the rest, when the one thing you hoped for didn't work out, when you feel the dissonance within periods of the lifelong chord you call life and the world starts to feel like it's crashing down upon you because you work too much and don't sleep enough, or the one thing you needed isn't there, or the one person you thought would always be by your side leaves you now to do on your own, and now you have to try and prove to yourself and to others that you can do it and you can handle the pressure of trying to impress others without falling behind, and when you just don't know what to do, you just stop. Lesson 3. Sometimes rests are the most important things in music, because when the chaos is taking over and is overwhelming, you rest and just breathe, and you let things relieve themselves into the peaceful harmony that seems like the rainbow after the storm. Because you see, the most important thing in life is that when things seem to be falling apart and when the chaos is overwhelming and you need to just take the rest that's written in the music and just breathe, because after you breathe, things will resolve themselves into peaceful harmony. There's a quote that I like to say a lot because it kind of ties to this real lesson hiding within the music, and that quote is, "Things will always get worse before they get better." Now, I like this quote because it tells you that the dissonance and chaos is important to your life. Because as Mr. T and Mr. Carney say, a song without chaos is boring. And yet a song with chaos that is further resolved to harmony is beautiful because it rewards the imperfections within the beauty. It shows the chaos we all have going on in our brains and helps us relate to it, because sometimes all you really need to do is stop and realize that you need dissonance to be able to create harmony and peace. Music has taught me to breathe when the schedule is too full to do it voluntarily, and this is why music has been so important to me. These lessons may seem like just some definitions about a group of words that won't mean anything after high school music class, but the real meaning is so much more. From this program, I learned to be a leader and how to not only learn from my mistakes and faults, but how to learn from those who were older and younger than me, because sometimes you learn the most. You learn the most important things from the people you least expect. You learn to love others like your family. You learn to work with the people around you as if they've been there all along. And most importantly, you learn that music itself is the one language, the one force that connects the world together, even when language doesn't. When language is a barrier, music is not. Music is the gateway to the true understanding of life. And for providing me with that, a huge thank you goes out to my two great teachers, because in all reality, you are the super team. At this time, I would not only like to thank my family members, but a huge thank you to Ben Arcari, who accompanied me earlier. He's really a great musician. We should all represent him just a little bit. And I'd like to ask my music teachers to please stand. A lot of respect to them. Thank you.
With his acceptance speech for band, Ognen Milosavljevic.
Hi. That's weird. Okay. So my name is Agyan, and firstly I would like to thank my music teacher, Mr. Taraga, for nominating me. He gave me the wonderful opportunity to screw up a song in front of 100 people. Thank you, Mr. T. So, firstly, growing up I have been very interested in playing the guitar. I didn't have any really good reason for it. I just wanted to be the cool kid in the class, which didn't work out really well because I'm still not the cool kid, even though I can kind of play. So, with my years of practice, I developed some skill in this sense about playing, and still nobody really liked me. But that's okay. Okay. So with this ideology of being a cool kid, I started learning the guitar, and I asked my mom and dad to give me lessons, or just hire somebody to give me lessons. So what my dad did, he found this old guitar that was really rusty and crappy, kind of like Mr. T's music lessons, and he gave it. And he gave it to me, and I started playing. I got a teacher, and the teacher was like 6'5", which a little kid like me, I was like this tall, was really impressive. I was almost as short as Mr. Ronald in the back. Hey, Mr. Ronald. And honestly, the teacher could play very well, and he was a great teacher, but that was probably the most impressive part because he was just so gigantic. So throughout the years, well, months mostly, he taught me how to actually play, how to fingerstyle the guitar, how to create chords, create scales, how to learn scales, how to read music, how to convert music. He taught me this whole arsenal about being a great guitarist and a great musician. And after the lesson stopped, I kind of stopped playing the guitar. So then days and weeks and months went by, and I completely stopped playing. So this was around the time, I think 7th grade, 8th grade. So I tried to pick it up again when I came to America 4 years ago, but that stopped after learning one song. I didn't care. So all my skills kind of dissipated into nothing. Until 2 years ago, when I took a class in school called Guitar Lab, taught by Mr. Carney, the scary guy that walked in 10 minutes ago. Hi, Mr. Carney. So basically, this class seemed pretty interesting when I was reading the whole description, but then when it started, it was really boring. We never played any fun songs. We played Yankee Doodle. It was horrible. Mostly because I couldn't play Yankee Doodle. That was the worst part. But as the class went on, Mr. Carney started assigning a little bit harder stuff. And that was starting to get interesting, but it was still nothing that bad because I already knew guitar, so all my skills kind of started coming back. Until Final Projects came along, then Mr. Carney, being clever, he gave me this piece of Spanish music called Malaguena. It was 5 pages. I couldn't read it. I couldn't understand it. It was insanely difficult. And he told me, here, play this. And I looked at him and said, no. He was like, too bad. So I had to learn it. So I spent about a month on it, I think. And at the end of it, I couldn't play crap. Sorry for my language, but that was the truth. I could barely play the first page. I kind of tried to put something together, maybe take some other parts. It was just horrible. I'm sorry, Mr. Carney. But what this did allow me to do, after I started reading the piece and actually listening to it more and more, my love for guitar kind of started coming back, and I started being a lot more interested in it and actually learning this Spanish style of music. So if it wasn't for that class and that whole experience about playing in front of him, I probably wouldn't be playing guitar today. So in all honesty, thank you, Mr. Carney, for that. So last year, Mr. T gave me another fun opportunity. He let me do an independent study in one of his concert band classes. What this essentially allowed me to do is I picked a piece of music, the one I played tonight, and I worked on it for the whole semester. I still couldn't play guitar very well, so to me that was an insanely difficult challenge. And I spent countless hours in the back show choir dressing room hammering away at the guitar and getting frustrated. And I think I spent like 2 days changing strings one time so I wouldn't have to play. It was a fun time. But while I was playing the guitar and playing that same song over and 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 over again, I kind of figured out how to develop my own sound in the music and how to put in my emotions for it and figure out who I want to play for and who I want to dedicate the music to, which in all honesty is a great thing. I couldn't do that tonight because I was nervous, but in general I played great, I promise. So that was Mr. Carney's class that kind of like let me want to play guitar again. It was Mr. T's class that made me develop a new sort of love and passion for it. So thank you to you too, Mr. T. And now this year, Mr. Turaga, he told me to teach a kid how to play violin. I don't know how to play violin. I never played the violin in my life. It was horrible. My mom played the violin, so I asked her to give me a little bit of a crash course in it, which ended with me crying. But that's okay. I still didn't know how to play. It was fine. I knew how to hold the bow, and I knew how to hold the violin. I knew because it kept hurting my shoulder. She was like, yeah, that's good. Keep doing it. Put a towel if it hurts. So I said, okay. So I started teaching the student, Anthony, how to play, and I was doing a very crappy job, in all honesty. So Mr. T has somebody who can actually play, start teaching him too. It was this really tiny girl called Hannah, who's a sophomore. So Hannah's been playing for a few years, and she was a lot better than me, so it was not very fun, especially because I had to listen to her a lot. But me and Hannah combined, because I knew theories of music, she knew how to actually play violin. We managed to teach Anthony how to play, and now he can sort of play here and there. He's getting there, he's trying, it's okay. But though this sounds like it has absolutely nothing to do with me learning the guitar or anything, Hannah's probably the first person to actually tell me I sound like crap when I sound like crap. And she was very honest with me every time. And so if it wasn't really for her constantly being mean to me about it, I would probably still be stuck behind this little wall of playing I built around myself and wouldn't be able to try to jump over it and actually make some progress with my playing. So even though she isn't here tonight because she didn't want to come, thank you to her. Now, finally, I'd like to thank my family, who also had a big influence, starting with my mom. Thank you for giving me the music lessons. It was very appreciated. To my dad in Serbia, thank you for my guitar. To my other dad, Stavre, thank you for making fun of me. To my older brother, Nikola, who is one of the biggest influences in my life. One time, when we were playing guitar together, he smacked me across the face, and I still remember that. I don't know why he did it. He wanted to be the cool guy. It was very sad. But he gave me a lot of motivation in general on how to make myself a better musician. Thank you to my older brother, Marco, and older brother, sister, Adriana, who always come to my concerts and always show me some motivation when I play in front of people. Then finally taking me to my little brother Alex, who's about this tall. He's not my little brother anymore because he's taller than me, which is not fair because, you know, genetics. But thank you to him for constantly trying to get me to move forward with my music and telling me I sound like crap in my rhythm because it turns out I can't keep a beat, but that doesn't matter. So at this moment, I would like to ask my parents, Natasha and Stavri, to stand up so I can give them a rose and stop talking.
Unfortunately, the first student chosen to represent the science department is unable to be here tonight, but we would like to congratulate Kiara Elliott for being chosen to this year's super team. The second honoree in the science department is Nikki Bolton.
I feel very sick right now. So my name is Nikki Bolton, and I'm one of the recipients for the Science Super Team Award. And at this time, I would like to thank the Webster Schools District for this opportunity. I would also like to thank my high school science teachers, Mrs. McCarthy, Mrs. O'Connell, and Mrs. Colson, for providing me with a strong academic foundation and for fostering my love of science further. Throughout a large portion of my life, science has always been a subject I was drawn to because of its complexity and its investigative nature. And while my specific scientific interests have fluctuated, I have always felt that it has held a great amount of importance in my life. So I'm especially grateful to receive this award, which aligns with the subject I hold very dear. And at this time, I would like to acknowledge and introduce my parents, Christy and Patrick Bolton.
The next department I'd like to introduce is Social Studies. We will begin with Sok Liab Kem.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to this celebration. My name is Sok Liab Kem, a 17-year-old teenager who just came from Cambodia 3 years ago. I've been chosen to receive the Super Team's History Awards, and today is a really special night for me and everyone else in the Super Team. This is my junior year. However, I've never really thought that I could join this team because I was only focusing on the grades in school and the lessons that the teachers gave me. History used to be one of my unnecessary subjects because I wasn't really paying attention to the lessons. So yes, it was completely my fault. Back in my country, I was a lazy kid who didn't like to study much about my own language and culture because I was thinking that it was useless since we were living in the present now. However, when I came to Bartlett, I started to focus on history because my teacher gave me a lot of assignments. At first, I found it hard, but later on, I found it easy because I understand the situation of the issues that happened and how it led society to where it is now. I learned about the Civil War, Great Depression, World War I, World War II, Cold War, the struggle of African Americans, minority groups in the US, and a lot more. The stuff that I find intriguing is especially the war part. The stuff that I find intriguing, same line. One thing that I found interesting is how it's telling us what we should do so that this won't happen again or that won't happen again. For examples, war, riots, etc. Students in my class have a lot of reasons to defend their arguments, and I found that amusing. First of all, I would like to thank my teacher, Mr. Riley, who picked me as their representative for history Secondly, I would like to thank Mrs. Haynick from the business department, Ms. Menard from the English department, although she's not teaching in Bartlett anymore, Mr. Hansen, the history teacher, and Ms. Granger from guidance for looking after me, giving me explanations, and giving me the best attention so that I wouldn't fall behind in classes when I first came to Bartlett. Thirdly, I would also like to thank Ellen, our chef, who is in charge of the cafeteria's everyday meals. Where am I? Okay, thank you for allowing me to create fun posters for the Farm to School program. And lastly, I would like to thank my family for supporting me and raising me up to where I am now, especially my uncle and aunt who looked after me when my dad wasn't with me. I love you all. At this time, Mom, Dad, Grandma, Sis, and Uncle, please stand.
I now welcome the second recipient in social studies to the podium, Diego Taborda.
Hi, I'm Diego Taborda. I was nominated to be on Super Team for Social Studies by my world history teacher, Mr. Hansen. I was caught completely off guard because I would usually not consider myself a good student by any means. I always have a very difficult time focusing, and it is very rare that anything can hold my attention. But this year, Mr. Hansen's teaching style really worked well for me. I can honestly say I try as hard as I can in his class. History used to be my favorite subject until I lost interest in the curriculum and how history was being taught. Mr. Hansen's class has restored my passion for history by connecting events that happened years ago to current events, which is what I have been craving from a history teacher for a very long time. Tonight I brought with me the following family members: my mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, and brother. Please stand and be recognized.
Receiving the administrative award for the guidance department is Emma Bono. All right, hi guys. Good evening, everyone. My name's Emma Bono, and I was nominated for the Guidance Administration Award. First off, I'd like to thank everyone in the guidance department for all the hard work they do for all the kids in Bartlett. They work really hard every day trying to have a good relationship with everyone in the building, and without them, our school would be a mess. So I'd like to thank them for nominating me for this award and for everything they do for the school. Now, I've been a student at Bartlett High School since 7th grade, and I've learned quite a few life lessons here, but one of the greatest things I've ever learned, I experienced this year. That lesson will stick with me for the rest of my life. I learned to get outside my comfort zone. Ever since I was a little kid, I've scheduled my days down to the last hour. I start my homework at 5, eat dinner at 6, take a shower at 6:30, finish my homework, get into bed by 8 every single night. That's been going on for the past 10 years. Just ask my parents, it's kind of ridiculous. Even the slightest change in my routine would result in me having a really bad panic attack, and my mind would be screwed up for the rest of the night. That's been happening for as long as I can remember, and basically I'm a major control freak. Skip forwards a little bit to my junior year of high school. First few months were pretty good. I had good grades, great group of friends. Everything was going pretty smoothly at home too. Around January of 2018, I started going through a really rough patch in my life. I couldn't focus in school and I was having way more panic attacks than I used to have. After school every day, I just sit in my bed and cry for hours and hours trying to figure out what's wrong with my mind. I'd ask myself, why am I thinking this way? Just a few short months ago, everything was going so great. How could my life just completely turn around like that? I didn't talk to my friends as much anymore. I stopped doing schoolwork. I was just by myself in my thoughts. Now, a lot of people don't know this. I don't even think my parents know this. But at my breaking point, I even started to self-harm. I didn't know what else to do, so I would just hurt myself. I thought I deserved this for being unmotivated and for my grades dropping to A's, now to lower B's and C's. And for not being social anymore. And most of all, for being unable to function properly anymore. This might not be the biggest deal to some people, but like I said, I'm kind of a major control freak. And I put a lot of pressure on myself to succeed. I thought I was a failure. I thought I wasn't good enough anymore. Never in my life have I felt so useless. I let myself down, but I thought I let my parents down, which hurt me the most. Every time I would think about school, the thought of failure would crawl into my mind and I would become extremely anxious. Most of the time I'd end up having another panic attack, and then the only way that would get me out of it was taking a sleeping pill and to sleep for like the next 6 hours. In my dreams, I could do anything. My dreams were like my comfort zone. I could make my life perfect in my eyes and nothing would be wrong. That was my only wish whenever someone told me there was an eyelash on my face and to blow it off and make a wish, or when I dropped a quarter into the fountain. The only wish I ever wished for was for me to be different. After a few months of this, I thought enough is enough. I was tired of feeling useless every single day of my life, and I was tired of hurting myself. I began to go to therapy, and to be honest, I was kind of embarrassed and frightened at first. Talking to a person that has no idea about who I am and about some of my deepest feelings and secrets, just that thought was enough to make me not want to go. I'm really, really private about my feelings, so it's going to be a really new experience for me. And again, this was completely out of my comfort zone. But I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to do it to get myself better. I just told myself, Emma, you gotta put your big girl panties on and just do it. So after therapy, my therapist diagnosed me with very severe depression and anxiety, and I started to learn coping mechanisms to help me through my anxiety and depression. It took a few months and some serious hard work, but eventually my lower B's came up to A's again, and I was the same Emma I was when I was little, a hard-working girl motivated to succeed. One of the biggest things I had to work on was my comfort zone. Without taking risks, you won't find out new things about yourself. I was so attached to my comfort zone because I had a fear of failure. I was always afraid of failure, but without failing, you don't get to know little things about yourself. I took a chance my senior year on a program that struck my eye. I took all the normal classes like math, English, etc., but this program was way different than anything I've ever taken before. I was nervous about taking it because it was brand new. In the past, I wouldn't have even considered it, but I knew to reach my goal of taking healthy risks, I had to do something different this year. I was tired of the fear of failure. Life is too short just to stay in your comfort zone. Everyone needs to take risks, even if it's a little scary at first. For every success, there's 100 failures. This program I'm talking about is the Future Teachers of America program. Every F period for the first semester, I would go to the middle school across the parking lot and observe a real 5th grade classroom. The best part about it was I was observing a class I was in around 8 years ago. Miss Wilmot was my 4th grade teacher, and her class was the best. I remember always being excited to go to school in the 4th grade because she made school fun. I knew she was the perfect choice for me to take it back to middle school. Now I haven't been in middle school in what seems like forever, so I was really nervous about going back to see the kids that are also 10 years younger than me. I kept thinking things like, what if the kids don't like me, or what if they think I'm weird, but these thoughts were just pestering my mind until the moment I stepped in on the first day. The moment I sat in that really uncomfortable desk, I knew I was going to be in love there. I loved it so much within the first few weeks, I asked Mrs. Granger if I could be on the roster to take it for a full year instead of a half year. I was pumped when she said yes. The thing I love most about my time spent in the middle school is how carefree the kids were. When you're 10 years old, you don't have many responsibilities. Being in that environment just brought me back to the good old days when I used to be able to do my homework within 15 minutes and just watch Barbie movies for the rest of the day. I loved everything about being there. I love seeing their faces when they get a good grade on the tests or when they're just goofing off with their friends, not having a care in the world. Those are the little things I remember about my senior year for the rest of my life. I loved it so much, I started missing lunch and just go over there and see the kids. And I started using my senior privilege at the end of the day to go over there so I could have extra time there. After seeing how much I loved the younger kids, Mrs. Granger told me about a tutoring opportunity for a little boy in the 6th grade. I was a little nervous at first because I was afraid the kid wasn't going to like me and we weren't going to get along, but from our first session, I knew we were going to work great together. We started in October of last year on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and to this day we are still working together. He's a curly-headed ginger with a ton of energy that will talk to anyone, and I bet you $1 million he'd make you smile. I hope he remembers who helped him with his spelling words and math homework when he gets older, because I know I'll never forget him. I love tutoring so much that I started going after school every single day to help kids with their homework. It takes up a lot of my time that I could be spending working on homework, but I would much rather take an hour out of my day helping kids at the middle school than having to go home and be by myself and all of that anatomy homework I had to do. Over this year alone, I have accumulated over 90 community service hours from tutoring and helping out after school at the middle school. That is something I am very proud to say because I really love giving back to my community and helping the teachers out, helping the teachers with all of those little rascals. I always remember when Ethan was being a little brat because he didn't want to do his homework, or when Lewis was always following me around after school looking to borrow my earbuds because he was bored, or the way all the kids were excited to see me when I walked in the room. What I'm trying to say is that I absolutely love working with kids. I'll definitely miss them more than I'll miss my actual classmates when I graduate. I am so grateful that I was able to challenge myself to get out of my comfort zone and try something new like this program. If anyone takes anything from this really long speech, try to take risks. Without taking risks like this, I would have never found my passion for teaching. Don't hold yourself back, because the only thing you'll hurt in the end is yourself. Lastly, I'd really like to thank my parents, Elaine and Dan Bono, for all the hard work they do. My little sister has 2 autoimmune diseases, which is a lot to handle most of the time, and they still end up going to work every day and working their butts off for me and my sister. I know we can be a lot sometimes to handle because we're both teenage girls, but deep down we seriously appreciate you guys every single day. Like, I remember when me and my sister were on the kitchen floor brawling and my mom was trying to separate us. We're really grateful that you guys are our parents, though. Thanks for listening, and I hope you all have a great evening. Mom and Dad, will you both please stand? The final recipient tonight, Ryan Rice, chosen to receive the Alexandria Steinbook Award, is also not available to attend this evening's event, but we would like to extend our congratulations to him. With a brief presentation to the members of the super team, I present to you State Representative Joseph McKenna.
Good evening. The last couple years, I've kind of playfully chided Marianne for putting me after the speeches, and this year she got back at me by putting Duncan in the front row with his magnificent head of hair, and for someone who was balding at 19, that stings. But it allowed me to take the moment that we all had to be inspired by these kids. And I took the time to jot down a couple of thoughts and themes that if you listened carefully to these speeches, you'd pick up. Pride, humility, inspiration, kindness, taking risks and venturing out of the comfort zones, resiliency, talent, courage, humor, and then I ran out of space on my name card. But these are all lessons that each and every one of us can stand to be reminded of and to learn, and that we sometimes forget as we go through our lives and go through the grind of our daily life. And these students all had the self-awareness and the ability to identify these wonderful traits in themselves and in each other and share that with us. And they all had the courage to get up in front of us and share their stories. And it's just, you're the best of all of us in Webster. So when you go out into the world, and whether you go to college or start your career and share your talents and your treasures with the rest of the world, don't forget us little people in Webster, and come back and share that with us as well. So you've inspired all of us, and you really humble me to be your state representative for such wonderful and talented individuals. And so, on behalf of the entire House of Representatives, for each of the Super Team Award recipients, I have a citation, and it reads, "Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to each one of you in recognition of being named to Bartlett High School Super Team for excellence in your subject matter. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success." And it's signed by the Speaker of the House and by myself. And I also want to acknowledge Senator Ryan Fatman could not be here. He actually joined the rest of his family in Alabama, where his younger brother is graduating from officer school to be a Black Hawk pilot. So we'll give him a pass for that today. So, and he also had a citation from the Senate. So congratulations to each and every one of you.
I would now like to invite David Hurton, Chairman of the Webster School Committee, to the podium.
Thank you, Ashley. As Mr. McKenna indicated, it is incredibly difficult to get up here and try to give a speech after the amazing talks that we've heard this evening. I think all of you may have discovered that public speaking is not exactly the easiest task in the world. However, I do want to thank Ashley this evening. Not only was she incredibly graceful, but being our master of ceremony, she did a fantastic job. So would you please join me in thanking Ashley? So earlier today, I was trying to think of what in the world I was going to say. And a thought popped into my head, and I said to myself, what are some characteristics of a leader? So I started to write some words down. A leader is someone who has tremendous perseverance. A leader is someone who is always motivated and is able to motivate others. A leader excels. A leader is resilient. A leader conquers challenges. A leader is always humble. A leader believes in teamwork. A leader has a positive attitude. And a leader knows that most of the times things may get worse before they get better. Now, Mr. McKenna and I did not plan our speeches, but those are not my words. Those are your words that I wrote down this evening. Because you are all tremendous leaders. Not future leaders, leaders right now. And a lot of people think that in order to be a leader, you have to have a lot of money, or you have to have a powerful position, or you have to have influence over a lot of people. But in fact, you don't. As a matter of fact, I think the greatest leaders are those like all of you that at times in your lives have had very difficult challenges. And it's those moments when no one else is looking, when you feel like you will never get through what you're going through, but you persevere. And not only do you get through it, you get recognized by people who are incredibly intelligent, and those are your teachers. So on behalf of our newly elected moderator, the members of the Board of Selectmen, and especially my colleagues on the school committee, I just want to thank all of you. Because to me this evening, what you taught me was how to be a leader. Thank you.
I now present the Superintendent of Webster Public School System, Ruth Ann Gogan.
Good evening, everyone. What an inspirational night. I want to thank all of our super team members. There is a theme that you're going to keep continuing to hear. Edward Eggleston, an American historian and novelist, once said, "Persistent people begin their success where others end in failure." Each of your personal stories exemplify your ability to be persistent. Persistent, by definition, means continuing firmly or obstinately in the course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. You have all been recognized tonight as the 2019 Bartlett High School Super Team because you have demonstrated you are persistent people. Instead of giving up, you engaged in productive struggles. At times, they may not have been easy or enjoyable or even expected. Your stories were truly amazing. They demonstrate how you learned to trust yourself, to face challenges head on, to push through uncomfortable situations, to try something new, to reach for goals that you never, ever expected you would accomplish. When we look at defining what success means, it's very important to accept and understand that success does not come without failures. Success is actually built upon failures. Let's take a look at Abraham Lincoln. When I mention his name tonight, I imagine that everyone in the room is thinking about a very tall, successful, and confident man. Well, did you know, at age 21, he failed in a business venture. At age 22, he was defeated in a legislative race. At age 24, he failed again in another business venture. At age 26, he overcame the death of his girlfriend. At age 27, he had a nervous breakdown. At age 34, he lost a congressional race. At age 45, he lost a senatorial race. At age 47, he failed in his efforts to become vice president. And finally, at age 52, he became the 16th president of the United States. Abraham Lincoln faced a number of significant challenges before he became the president. As a persistent person, he did not give up. He learned how to turn challenges into learning opportunities. And this helped him accomplish becoming a prominent political icon. You are all being recognized tonight because you stand out amongst your peers, because you are persistent people with strength in your character. Your individual stories are truly moving and powerful. Thank you for having the voice and the courage to share them tonight with us. It is my true honor as your superintendent to congratulate and recognize the 2019 Super Team. May you all continue to carry on as persistent people who push through life's ups and downs. I wish you all well on your future endeavors, and thank you again for sharing your inspirational stories, and I ask you to carry your Webster pride and Bartlett pride with you forever. Congratulations.
At this time, I'd like to thank all the people and organizations whose ongoing support and generosity continue to make this night possible. The Quo Vadis Club of Webster Dudley, the Raceway Restaurant, Wyndham Pepsi, the Bartlett Cafeteria, the Flower Garden, the Yankee Express newspaper, and Janet Stoika, Mafre Insurance, Gerald and Marilyn Fells, Webster First Federal Credit Union, the Airbrush Shack, State Representative Joseph McKenna, Ms. Susan Sabai, Ms. Lisa Fifield, Mr. Sean Harrington, Mr. Peter Mr. T, Ted Avlis, and Ms. Samantha Coombs. This concludes our recognition night ceremony. We hope you enjoyed hearing our stories and our dreams. Thank you, faculty members, for choosing us to represent the 2019 Super Team. It was our honor. We now look forward to carrying on the legacy of the 33 teams chosen before us. Have a wonderful evening, drive safely, and thank you all again for sharing this special event with us. Good night.
Yeah.